In September, it has been a difficult time. Of course, I was very disappointed, not just from the results, but also from the way we played, but also from the way we lived together. I think in the future, starting now, I think all together, the staff, the players, we have to try to improve in our way of seeing football together. We have to be a bit more professional. We have to be a bit more engaged, because, as I already said, nearly every time in March, in June, in September, the national team is above everybody. We're just here to serve the national team and not to use the national team. So, of course, I'm expecting a completely different attitude and investment from everybody. As I said, from the staff and from the players, because we all have responsibilities when it goes well. We all have responsibilities when it goes wrong. But what's for sure is we can just make it better together. That's the first thing. In September, as you've seen, we had quite some issues with players. Some players were injured, some players were without any club, some players just were coming back from injury. So it was quite, I would say it wasn't easy to build a group for September. It looks like for the October match it's a bit easier, except for Kite, who unfortunately got injured now for the next 2 months at least. And we feel very sorry for him because he's an important player to us. But we'll have other players coming back after injuries or after finding clubs like Okri, who was a bit injured in August, Kvilia, who didn't have any club, Kvaratskhelia, who was injured, Chagvetadze now has has a better fitness. So we have some signs that show that we can be more optimistic, but it's going, as I said, it will just work better if we act very professionally and if we work hard the whole week. As I said, I just want to remind everyone that September, you know, all the players who were not here. We used a lot of players from the Georgian league, from the local league in September. It wasn't because I absolutely wanted to have players from the Georgian league, but because I thought, because we had a lot of players missing, I had to get some players. And so that's more coincidence than everything else. But we have seen also that the difference of level. I was a bit surprised, to be honest, when I was getting feedback from the press, for example, before the match against Kosovo. I had the feeling that it was going to be an easy match. But when I was looking the Kosovo squad, I could see players playing in Napoli, playing in Lazio Roma, playing in Premier League in England. And we don't have this kind of players here, not yet. We're working hard, and we hope one day a lot of our players will play in a better league, like in England, in Spain, in Italy, in France, but in big leagues. That's what we target, and for that we have to work hard. But when we play against other teams who have players playing in big leagues, we can't say that it's going to be easy for us. They are just facts. The federation, since some years, is making a very, very good job on young players. And you can see now with Chagvetadze, Kvaratskhelia, Davitashvili, Mamardashvili, and others, there's new generations coming, and one day all these players will play in top leagues, and will play constantly in top leagues, not just one match or two matches, but will play weekend after weekend on the top level, and it will bring confidence, it will bring strength to the whole national team. But till then, we have to work hard, as the player did in March, as the player did in June, but not, of course, as we did like in September. And now in October, we got some more experienced player coming back, also because now they found a club or because they play with their club, like Kverskiri, who wasn't there in September because he wasn't playing with his club, like Vili, who has a club now. They have players with more experience, so I hope, and I'm convinced, that the lack of experience and the mistakes we have done in September won't be made again in October. But as I said, my job is, when I do analyze situation, I just refer on facts and not on feelings or love or hate. It's just on facts. And facts are that at the moment, our players have to improve their global level, have to improve their way of seeing the professional life of a football player. They have to improve in all of that. We all have to improve together if we want a better future. We can't say we want to win at least a match, because if you ask me, I want to win all the match, because we're playing 2 matches at home, 1 match away. Everything is possible. It's not. My ambition is not just to win a match and then to say, oh yes, we did please some people who wanted us to win a match. It's not the way I want to work. I want to win all the match. And as I said, I repeat it again, we've got good players coming slowly. They're still young. They're 20 years old. I mean, at 20 years old, they're still some boys. You know, I was reading a bit. I try to read sometimes what people can say or what the press can write after some match or after some training camps. I try to understand certain things. And I thought, you know, when I read about Mamardashvili, about Kvaratskhelia, about Davitashvili, about all these young players, as I said, they're still boys. They need help, they need your support. And if you want a successful future, there are some things, there are some times where you have to build things. And using younger players now than maybe it was done in the past, it's also to build a stronger future. You never have a good future if you don't build anything strong. So we have to go through difficult phases. We know it. We have to go sometimes to, we will be disappointed, we will be hungry. It's normal, because also for Georgian people, for Georgian fans, for the press, for the federation, for everyone, it's when you lose, you're hungry. We are all hungry, but that's normal, that's football. Football is passion. But if you want to be strong, you have to build things. And as I said, the federation started some years ago to build strong things with very young players, and now they're coming slowly. But we can't ask players who are 20 to play already like players who are 30 years old. I mean, I'm sure when you write articles, you write very good. But I'm sure when you were 20, you were not able to write the way you write today. So we learn, we get experience. And as I said, all these players, Kvaratskhelia need more experience, Davitashvili need more experience, but they will just get experience in good condition if they get your support, and not always, if he plays good, he's the best in the world, and if he doesn't come because he's injured, he does drop his duty to the country. I mean, we can't be like that with young people. We should not forget they're 20 years old. Kvisha is somebody I discovered in March, personally. I didn't know him from before. I think he's a 20 years old player who carries far too much on his shoulders at the moment, with everything that has been said this summer about maybe a transfer in a top league, in a top club. And you know, when you're 20, when you have a bit of lack of experience, it takes time for you to digest all these things, and especially negative things. It's difficult for young players to cope with it. But Visha has to know that he's a very important player to us, that we are all looking forward to see him, because he hasn't played since March with us. He knows exactly what I expect from him on the pitch, and as I said, in 5 days, that's the maximum I can do. As I said, young players, they need support, they need help, they need understanding. I've seen this weekend, he was on the bench, and he came, he missed a penalty. It's the story of football. Zico missed penalty, Roberto Baggio missed penalties. I can just promise that Kvisha will come in a very positive environment for him for the next week with us, and I'm convinced that with the help of the other players, the confidence that he has from us, I'm sure we're going to see a very positive Kvisha on the pitch. His level of performance is just, you know, it's the story of football. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're bad. It's the story of football, but I'm convinced that he's going to play 100% with his heart for his country, and that he's going to give 100% for his team, because he loves the national team, he loves the team, and he just wants to be a good football player. You know, he got a lot of lights after his match against Spain and against Greece in March, and I hope he's going to get exactly the same one after the 2 matches of October. But as I said, and I say it again, he's still a very young player. He's 20 years old. But as I said, Kvisha has our confidence, he has our support, he has our trust, and I'm convinced he's going to, against Greece and Kosovo, be at the level that we do expect. I can't really answer about questions about to be patriotic or to fight more for the country, or because it's not my duty. It's a players thing, and I'm sure the players are 100% engaged and involved in the national team. It's never a question of to love or not the national team. Of course, they all love the national team. They all want to bring something to the national team. All the players are also there to show the way to the younger players, and I hope they will fulfill this mission they have. You know, it's sometimes, you know, and I just can speak for myself, but because I was on the pitch for years, and you know, sometimes your heart wants, but sometimes your legs don't, your brain doesn't, but your heart wants. About Kazashvili, but of course, it's always my decision, even if it's a good one or a bad one, it's always my decision. As I tried to explain before, when I call up players, I try to judge players on their performance with their club, but also with us. I wasn't 100% satisfied from Vako, from the last training camp in September. His match against Kosovo and the way he came against Spain. You know, it's I have to take in consideration a lot of things. His previous match with us, his match with his club, his long trip to come to Georgia, and after all of that, I have to set the decisions, and I just can put 23 players, I mean, on the bench or on the pitch, and it's just a decision. It's not, I'm not saying that he won't come back. I'm just saying for what he showed me in September, and also a part of it is the distance. It's difficult. It's difficult for me. I took this decision. It doesn't mean I'm going to take always this decision, but for these 2 matches, I wanted to have players that I had, that I was sure about, and less doubt. A lot of new players came in the last 6 months, because I thought it was important also for myself to have to see some players, if they have the level, if they can help the national team, if they can be in the future good players for the national team. So I think it was important. not to make a rotation, but to give the chance to some other players to come to the national team. Now, after 6 months, because I've seen now quite a lot, I can have a better opinion on what we can reach and with whom I can reach that. And this October and this November will be, of course, you will see by yourself which kind of direction I want to give to this team. About the players who were here in September, you know, I'm just a coach, so there were some match in September, there are some match in October. The ones who are here means for me that they deserved to be here, and the ones who are not here, it means they still have to work harder to come back with us. That's as easy as that. And regarding Chakvetadze, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are very happy to see him coming back slowly, in shape, fit. I'm a part of these people. I'm very glad that he's back. He went through such a difficult time, nearly 2 years, having several problems. Is you know, before September, when we called Chakvetadze up for the national team, he had played 10 minutes sometimes, 12 minutes sometimes, 15 minutes sometimes. In 3 games, and in about 6 days, we gave him about 100 minutes. After that, he started to play against with his club, so maybe somehow the decision to take him in September wasn't easy, because when somebody's just playing, has played 4 times 15 minutes in 2 years, roughly, it wasn't an easy decision to take him in the group, maybe compared to other players who were maybe playing more. But it's a choice that I have made, because I thought that Chakvetadze at this time did need some help, did need a sign for the national team that is important to us. I'm just happy from the consequence. The consequence is today Chakvetadze is able to play 60, 70, 75 minutes on the high level, and for me that's already a big win compared to where he was in the last August. So I'm happy to have him, and there's another match today with his club, and I'm very glad to see him coming on Monday. Let's see how he's going to recover, because he's of course still not 100% fit, but I'm very looking forward to have him, because he's a player who, you know, when you talk about very good players, sometimes you always say he has something more than some others, and I really do believe that Chakve has something else than a lot of other players. And if he's fit, and if he's in a, I would say, if he's free in his head and fit in his body, of course, a lot of teams would like to have Georgi.